Back in the late 60s, before there was even a term heavy metal, America was being influenced by the sounds coming from British bands like Led Zeppelin, The Who, The Beatles, The Stones, and Clapton, to name a few. But even before Black Sabbath took that sound down a darker path, there were a couple of bands in the States trying to take their sound to a heavier, darker, and louder level than even the British sound at the time. One of those bands was Dust, who formed in New York in 1969 and by 1972 had released 2 albums that can only be described as way ahead of their time. Formed by songwriter, guitarist, and lead vocalist Richie Wise, along with bassist Kenny Aronson and drummer Mark Bell, who would later go on to become Marky Ramone, Dust clearly were the roots of American heavy metal before the term even existed. Artisan News recently caught up with Richie Wise to get his thoughts on Sony Legacy remastering and re-releasing the first 2 Dust albums for Record Store Day, and what he thought of the sound over 40 years after recording the albums.
With a remaster now, I got to tell you, I am really surprised at some of the stuff. Some of it is really good, especially I think on the second album. There's some stuff that really blows me away.
After the second Dust album, Mark Bell, a.k.a. Marky Ramone, joined forces with the Ramones just as the punk revolution took hold, and as they say, the rest was history as his legendary career took him to the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Richie also went on to talk about Mark Bell and his drumming style in Dust, which was different than his style with the Ramones.
Here's a guy that's in the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, one of our neighborhood guys, and we're so proud of him, and I'm so proud of him. But in the Ramones, he only played one style of drumming, really fast beat drumming to accompany these 2.5-minute songs. In Dust, you will hear, I think, some of the great rock drumming on any record ever by anybody. I mean, he's pretty amazing. And the second album, the Heart Attack album, which is the first one on the CD, we mixed him really good.
After dissolving Dust, all 3 members went on to successful careers in the music industry, with Marky joining the Ramones and Aronson performing with the likes of Bob Dylan, Sammy Hagar, and Billy Idol, and Wise continuing on with his songwriting partner Kenny Kerner, who went on to produce hit records for the likes of Kiss, Gladys Knight, and Stories, who had a #1 hit with Brother Louie. Richie Wise also talked about the premature breakup of Dust and why the band was never destined to continue on past the first 2 albums.
Dust never broke up. There was no calls, there's no more Dust. There was just no more Dust. It fizzled. Somebody recently said to me, man, if you guys had 8 suicides, you guys could have been the biggest band in the world. That is flattering and amazing, but the way I look at it, it's not the case. Because Kenny Kerner brings up the reality that with the label and with the management, that wouldn't have happened. But also, we really never thought out the process. If we do this, should we do this? We just did what came natural for us. We just did organic. We never had any thought process about it. Maybe we needed somebody who would have thought more about it and told us, while everybody was telling us maybe you should play more pop or softer, no, play louder and you'll make it. Play more suicides. That was said recently, not 40 years ago.
So what if Marky and Kenny decided to get the band back together for a tour or a few shows to celebrate Dust and its groundbreaking history? Would Richie be down to be a part of the reunion?
Not me. I mean, I'm the baseball player that put down his bat when he was 21 years old and hasn't picked it up in 40 years. My instrument for 30 years after Dust was the recording studio. I produced about 70 albums. That is something that you just can't do and get those chops back, nor would I even have the passion to do that. Mark and Kenny, I think it's a possibility, and if they got another guitar player and a singer or a guitar player that was a singer or something that could do it all, I'd be flattered to hear them because, most of the material is stuff that I wrote with Kenny Kerner. And
there's no doubt music historians and fans of early heavy metal roots will find Dust's first 2 remastered albums appealing and agree that the band had a promising career ahead of them if only their label and management knew what to do with their sound. But music fans can rejoice you can now get your fill of Dust, as not only did Sony Legacy release a single CD with remastered versions of both records, but they also released a special vinyl edition for Record Store Day on April 20th, 2013. So will Marky Ramone, Richie Wise, and Artisan attempt a dust reunion? Stay tuned.